Privacy means people know what they're signing up for. And some people want to share more data than other people do. Ask them. Let them know precisely what you're going to do with their data.
What if you woke up tomorrow finding out that every single message that you've ever sent on WhatsApp, every photo that you've stored on iCloud, and every private conversation you've had that you thought was secure, the government was actually reading all of it without a warrant, without telling you, without any legal process whatsoever? Well, this nightmare almost became a reality within the UK because for the past year, Keir Starmer's government has been waging a secret war against your digital privacy. They've been demanding that Apple and WhatsApp hand over the keys to your encrypted data, not just for UK citizens, but for everyone everywhere in the world. The funny thing is that they lost spectacularly, and the story of how they lost reveals a level of government overreach that should terrify anyone who values privacy. We're talking about secret court orders, and tech companies literally pulling features from the UK rather than complying with these authoritarian demands. All of this isn't some conspiracy, it's documented fact, and hopefully by the end of the video you'll understand just how close we had come to living in a surveillance state. So there are two particular pieces of legislation that British citizens should be aware of. These are the Investigatory Powers Act of 2016 and the Online Safety Act of 2023. The Investigatory Powers Act, which has been nicknamed as the Snoopers Charter, and that nickname should tell you everything that you need to know. This gives the government sweeping surveillance powers. With this, the UK government tried to force Apple to allow security authorities to access encrypted cloud data, which Apple itself does not view. The UK government wanted Apple to create a backdoor for them, and the tech giant said that it would disable advanced data protection in the UK altogether because of the UK's demands. These advanced data protections are the most advanced end-to-end security encryption tool for the cloud, and thanks to Starmer's government wanting to snoop in on your photos, we have lost this feature. Under the Investigatory Powers Act, the Home Office can serve these technical capability notices, which compel companies to assist in interception and data access. And if these companies were to disclose to the citizens that such orders were given, then it is actually a criminal offense. It's a gag order meant for companies like Apple and WhatsApp, where they cannot even tell the public that they've been asked to break encryption. Then you have the Online Safety Act, which appears to be the real villain in this story. So the government sold us this act as protecting children online. Who could argue with that? Except buried within section 122 of this legislation is something a bit more sinister. This gives Ofcom, the UK's communications regulator, the power to force companies to scan private messages for illegal content. In order for Ofcom to be able to scan encrypted messages, you need to break the encryption, and there's no other way around it. The government claimed that they could have their cake and eat it too, because in one hand they wanted to scan messages while on the other hand promising to keep encryption intact. Section 122 has been interpreted by tech experts as a way to compel companies to scan their users' messages, something that isn't really possible without breaking end-to-end encryption. The thing is, this is technically impossible. You either have secure encryption for everyone or you have it for no one. Government ministers did claim that they could somehow scan messages without undermining encryption, but they provided no technical solution for this. And the funniest thing is, they don't even know how absurd the demands are that they are asking for. In January of 2025, the UK Home Office, led by Yvette Cooper, issued what's called a technical capability notice to Apple under the Investigatory Powers Act. This wasn't a polite request, this was a legal order with criminal penalties for non-compliance. They wanted Apple to create a backdoor into iCloud that would give UK government access to encrypted data from users worldwide. Every person on the planet who has ever used iCloud would have their privacy compromised because the UK government has demanded it. This is a government that represents 67 million people demanding that a company compromise the security of over 2 billion users globally. It's like you asking your neighbor to take down all of his curtains and blinds so that you can peep inside his house and see what's going on. They also wanted WhatsApp to implement what's essentially a robot spy on every phone. The technical term is client-side scanning, but that's just fancy language for we want to read your messages before you send them. WhatsApp's head, Will Cathcart, publicly blasted this as a dangerous demand and said that the company would sooner exit the UK than comply with their orders. The Verge quoted him, pointing pointing out that 98% of our users are outside of the UK. They do not want us to lower the security of the product, so WhatsApp will never break their end-to-end encryption just for the sake of one country. The only way that the public learned of these orders is because Apple and others fought back in court, forcing some details into the open record. Judges who were dealing with the case ruled that Apple's challenges should be heard partly in open court, as this thwarts the Home Office's attempt to keep it all a secret. Apple and WhatsApp did something remarkable as they told the UK government to absolutely get lost. They launched a coordinated counterattack that exposed the UK government's surveillance ambitions to the entire world. Apple's response was particularly brilliant, as they state, "We will never build a backdoor." The company was deeply disappointed by the UK's demands and declared publicly, "We have never built a backdoor or master key to any of our products or services, and we never will." This is why Apple in February of 2025 withdrew its advanced data protection end-to-end encryption features from UK iCloud users entirely. Apple decided that it would rather take away these security features from the entire country than set a precedent for building a surveillance backdoor. If the UK wanted to spy on people's data, it wouldn't get Apple's help doing it. This extra step taken by Apple means that UK customers have lost an added layer of privacy, but Apple stayed true to its word of no backdoors being given to the UK government. WhatsApp also joined the resistance, as the head of the company warned that given the choice between compliance and leaving the UK, it would be an odd choice for us to weaken security, as 98% of our users are outside of the UK. WhatsApp would rather be banned in the UK than to betray its global user base. This was a similar sentiment to another encrypted messaging app called Signal, as its president stated absolutely they would 100% walk away from the UK if the government was forcing them to hand over their users' data. And I don't think WhatsApp is giving empty threats here, as they are already preventing their services from being used in authoritarian countries, as WhatsApp is completely banned in Iran, for example. Think about it, if users thought that their private chats were not private after all, then these services offered by Signal, WhatsApp and even Apple would be rendered useless overnight. While tech companies were fighting in courtrooms, citizens had mobilized and created a petition on the official Parliament website as they tried to repeal the Online Safety Act. This particular petition got over 500,000 signatures in just a few weeks. This is one of the largest public backlashes to any law in recent UK history. The petition text accuses the act of being far broader and restrictive than is necessary in a free society, noting that it would even ensnare harmless hobby forums that lack resources to comply with the government's orders. Over 500,000 Brits had recognized the online safety law for what it was, a piece of legislation meant for mass surveillance, and the response was a absolutely not to Keir Starmer's government. Despite this public outcry, the government's response was basically to ignore it. Officials flatly stated that they had no plans to repeal the act and were pressing ahead with implementation of it. They've completely ignored over 500,000 people. If this doesn't demonstrate how disconnected the political class are from the general public, then I don't know what will. It's also been massively exposed that the UK government has been dishonest with how they framed the Online Safety Act. They've said that this law was just about protecting kids. Then why is it that over 500,000 people are trying to fight against it? The public clearly saw through the lies of the government and realized this was never about protecting the kids. Apple and WhatsApp are American companies, and US leaders made it clear that Britain's attempts to weaken end-to-end encryption is crazy and unacceptable. The US Vice President JD Vance publicly complained, "I don't want American citizens to be spied on," and he warned that creating a backdoor for the UK would simply open up US tech networks to exploitation by enemies. He and others stressed that the UK will effectively be asking for vulnerabilities that China, Russia, and other cybercriminals will be able to exploit. Trump had even weighed in on the matter as he accused Britain of behaving like China, telling the Prime Minister Keir Starmer, "You can't do this." The US Director of National Intelligence worked behind the scenes for months with UK officials and then announced publicly that an agreement was reached. The UK would drop its mandate for Apple to provide a backdoor to them. She wrote that they sought to ensure Americans' private data remains private and their rights are protected. The US was effectively saying our ally was endangering our citizens' privacy, so we had to step in. In short, the UK's closest ally has pretty much humiliated them on this matter. So after all of this resistance, Keir Starmer's government has quietly caved in. By late July of 2025, insiders were telling the Financial Times that the Home Office would probably have to retreat on the matter. Senior UK officials confessed that the issue had become a serious obstacle in US-UK relations. One official in the tech department put it bluntly, "It's a big red line in the US, they don't want us messing with their tech companies." Vice President Vance was also very annoyed, and the UK was essentially left with no choice but to back down. British authorities also indicated that they wouldn't immediately enforce the message scanning provisions of the Online Safety Act either, and The Guardian noted that this was a humiliating retreat for Starmer's government, which had to abandon a key demand under international and public pressure. Not only did Starmer's government fold, they also shined a huge spotlight on their overreach. The secret backdoor orders into citizens' data and the gag orders that were sent to companies reveals just how authoritarian Starmer's government is. It took public shaming and for intervention from the US government to stop their overreach. While it's been a bit depressing with the Online Safety Act having been passed and the government not really listening to UK citizens, there is a bit of positivity to this battle against Apple and WhatsApp. As we can see, resistance does work. When tech companies, citizens, and international allies work together, then they can overcome the overreach from the UK government. While the war for end-to-end encryption has been won, the Online Safety Act is still law, however, and the Investigatory Powers Act still exist. These tools of surveillance remain intact, and it's only a matter of time before the UK government implements its message scanning feature. This means that Apple, WhatsApp, and other similar message providers will be forced to remove their services from the UK because of the government wanting to spy on your messages. The price of privacy is freedom. Once they take one freedom away from you, then you don't tend to usually get it back. But yeah, we have reached the point of the video where I want to hand over the discussion to all of you. What do you think about Starmer's government being told to back down by the US, Apple, and WhatsApp? I'd love to know all of your thoughts, so continue the discussion in the comments. If there's anything that I've forgotten to mention, then do let me know. And lastly, thank you for making it to the end of this one, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video.
A massive thank you goes out to all of my amazing Patreon supporters for helping to make this video possible. If you also want to support the channel and see your name in the end of my videos, then check out my Patreon, which has loads of perks like early video access and so much more. Thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.